See. Talk, baby, talk. Mic chesting, mic chesting. 1, 2, 3, mic chesting.
Anyways, like this and start your record up. Jingalala hoo boo boo, then you do jingalala.
Hello. Twitch.
Hello.
And for the people who are here from YouTube, I'm really sorry about the scam episode. The scam episode has scammed me twice already.
The scam episode scammed us.
It'll be out for you guys on YouTube sometime later, where after I've finished the work for this episode and it's up on YouTube. Maybe after that, like half a week after that or something, I'll try uploading it, because nowadays these episodes take a lot of time because there's a bit of editing that goes into it, and me doing my office work and managing YouTube together kind of gets a little bit hectic, even with Sharon's help. So yeah, please be patient. I'll be uploading that, but you guys need to wait for a little while for me to do it properly again and not get scammed by the scam stories again.
Yeah.
And yeah, before we move into today's story, a quick disclaimer to every single one watching out there. This video is purely for entertainment and educational purposes only. There is no intention of pointing out or targeting or pointing fingers at anyone anywhere. There may or may not be graphical descriptions of crime scenes or other kind of scenes possibly present in the story, maybe even sexual content that you guys might come across. So yeah, please do not make a big deal out of it. Make sure to stay nice in the comment sections to one another, and do drop your ideas in there. Also, if you guys are easily triggered by things like this, you guys can move away from the video and watch something else instead, because the story is what it is and it cannot be helped. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I think it's time to dive into today's story.
Let's go.
So yeah, starting I mean, this is a huge story. Like, if you guys see this, huge enough. It doesn't get over. My god, when I started doing research for this, like 2 to 3 days back, I had to listen to the story like 6 times over to understand the context of the story. First of all, it's kind of a little complicated to get your heads wrapped around it, but I'll try my best to get it on to you guys, and you guys try your best to listen out and make sense of whatever you hear. So
By the way, small little Diablo, before we start, this story was suggested to us by Johal, our very own friend.
Yes. Johal Gaming. He also has his own Twitch streaming channel, so you guys can go and show him some support over there as well. And yeah, he was the one who told me about this story. And so, anyways, the story starts for you guys with 2 people. One being David Allen Turpin, and the other being Louis Anna Turpin. And Louis Anna Turpin is David and Allen Turpin's wife, and the story doesn't start here. The story starts with Louis's childhood. Now, before we can dive into the story, you guys need to know the background and the upbringing that Louis had as a child. Ever throughout her childhood, she had a sister. She had many sisters and a few brothers, out of which a few of her sisters were regularly sold to their own grandfather for sexual favors. Yeah, for sexual favors by their own mother.
Oh.
Yes. So they would have to go to their grandparents' place, and then their granddad would do things to them, all sorts of things, and then pay them instead in return. And this was a regular thing, and until Anna meets not Anna, Louise. Let's say Louise.
Don't tell me this
No, I
is
don't
still
think
so
so.
sad.
There is nothing seemingly mentioned about Louise's dad. There's nothing seemingly mentioned about Louise's dad. And
Mm-hmm.
this is all we know about the childhood of Louise Anna Turpin. She's not a Turpin by now. I don't know her exact last name at that point of time before getting married to David. But yeah, as years move on, they are devout Catholics and they visit church every day. And during church, Lewis comes
Mm-hmm.
across this man, charming man, uh, called
Okay.
David Allen Turpin. At this
Okay.
point, they are just meeting every day at church, and then you know how church thing works. Sunday to Sunday, you go there, you meet this person, you
Mm-hmm.
have special service days wherein you go and do social service for others. And during this duration, Louise picks up feelings for David.
Mm-hmm.
So does David. And at this point of
Okay.
time, Louise and David aren't allowed to meet each other. That is because
Hmm.
this man is around 7 years older than Louise.
Okay, wait. How long ago is this story?
This story, I mean, the story ended at 2018. Yeah.
Oh, pretty
Yeah,
recent.
the story, they broke free in 2018, but the story started ever since like 90s, I guess, if I'm not wrong.
Almost 20 years?
Yeah, I
Oh,
pity those
jeez.
kids, anyways. Uh,
Okay, yeah.
with that being said, the gap between Louise Anna Turpin and David Allen Turpin being 7 years, it's
Mm-hmm.
obvious they're not allowed to meet by their parents. But
Yeah.
when Anna is finally 16, when she turns 16, she manages to elope
Mm-hmm.
with David Allen Turpin.
Okay.
Now, I have also already told you guys about Louise's childhood, so you guys know how her childhood was. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And under those circumstances, she elopes with David at the age of 16 when David is 23 himself.
Okay.
And they go on to live the normal life as usual. For everyone, it looks pretty normal. They have 4 children. At this point of
Mm-hmm.
time, Louise's sister moves in with them. There are four children at this point of time. This is probably around 3 to 4 years after they are married. Everyone were pretty happy about Louise's choice later on, since this man was extremely brilliant in his university career and schooling career, and he was so outstanding that he was having literally $1 million job right on the day he passed out
Oh,
of
okay.
college. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everyone is pretty much happy with whatever happened, except the fact that she eloped and he's older to him. But yeah, fine, whatever it is, there's nothing else to be done about it. It's already done,
Yeah.
done and dusted. At this point of time, Louise's sister Elizabeth moves in to their house. I don't exactly know where they were living at this point of time, but yeah, all I know is they had 4 children at this point of time, and
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth moved in with them so that she could complete her college. And during her course of stay with them at this point of time,
Mm-hmm.
she noticed what is being said as pretty strict parenting, you could say. Kind of,
Okay.
uh, kind of like military level
Uh-huh.
disciplinary actions being taken against the children in the family, whoever was not listening. At this point of
So
time, there
there
were
were like
four.
4 kids already
Yeah, there were 4 kids
when she
already.
came in?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
they were still living their life at this point of time. They were going to
Okay.
Disneyland, they were having parties,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of rich things anyone can do. Any family, whoever earns that much, can do. It was a fancy
Okay.
lifestyle, as Louise's family exclaimed. So at this
Mm-hmm.
point of time, like I said, Elizabeth moves in, and mind you, she is also obliged to follow the same strict rules that the other four children are facing. And
She's not a small kid, right?
no,
She's
probably
an
around
adult.
18, 19, you can say, because if she's doing college, that's her age minimum, I guess. I don't know how
Okay,
it works in
college.
US. Yeah, she wants to finish her college. That's why she moved in.
Mm-hmm.
At this point of time, the amount of time she stayed, like I said, she noticed these things going on in the house, and she also had to follow the rules like the other four children did. Whatever the strict rules were, she also had to follow those. Also, moving ahead from that fact, she also tells that there were many situations at that point of time which Elizabeth herself found pretty uncomfortable in the place, because um, he would do weird things. David would do weird things, and whenever Elizabeth would go take a shower, David would break into the washroom, look at her taking a shower, yeah, and make jokes about it. Also, but she did mention one thing, that he never tried touching her or doing anything inappropriate, apart from the fact that walking into the washroom and looking at her taking a shower
Breaking into the washroom
is absurd enough already. It's a red flag already.
Yeah, I mean, what? Okay.
Okay, but anyways, and at this point of time, this is around year 1998. At this point of time, I guess probably Elizabeth had moved out of their house. Probably she has finished college at this point of time and she's moved out. And there are 8 children at this point of time.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So during this course of time wherein Elizabeth was at her place, there are 4 children by the time Elizabeth moves in. She finishes her college and moves out. By this time, there are 4 more children. So there are totally 8 children.
8.
Yeah. And this was around 1998 when the Turpin family completely cut off from everything outside. They stopped partying, they stopped going out, they stopped spending a lot, and they just stayed at their home. And the children were withdrew from schools and colleges and were home tutored. Not even colleges. None of them reached the college level. They all were withdrew from elementary school itself so that they could be home tutored and taken care of at home itself. The main reason to this was they were secretly bankrupt at this point of time. Yeah, they had lost all sorts of money. What I mean, I wouldn't throw shade at anyone, but come on, 8 children, it does take a lot. Yeah, it does take a lot to take care of them, and the extravagant life they had of partying and all that. I think it's just coming, isn't it? You can't deny it for real.
I mean, one child itself takes a lot.
Exactly.
8 children is
exactly.
Not less.
And like I said, all these kids were being home tutored. And whenever whenever the relatives or whoever came to their place, like aunts, uncles, grandmom, granddad, they would clearly notice that there is something wrong going on, but they cannot point out at what it is. But they know there's something going on. So at this point of time, they just notice that the kids are looking extremely smaller compared to their age. So let's say now there's a 10-year-old kid at your place, and the 10-year-old kid is somewhere around 4, 5 or 4, 8. But many of the children were literally 4 feet at that age. There is
So you mean they shrunk?
No, that says they weren't fed properly. They weren't growing properly.
Yeah, okay. I thought when you said they were small, you meant like malnourished.
They were malnourished.
It also makes sense, yeah.
They were malnourished.
Okay.
But whenever the relatives would turn up at their place, Louise would dress them up in such a way that no one would ever get to know that they were malnourished. But they knew something was going wrong.
Okay.
Moving on, when Louise was confronted about this when she was asked about why the kids were treated the way they were treated, why it was so strict, and why they were malnourished. Louise ends
Mm-hmm.
up deciding to cut all sorts of visible contact with any kind
Oh,
of relative of hers to the kids
okay.
completely forever. So at this point of
Hmm.
time, none of the family members from the Turpins or Louise's family are allowed to see the kids. Whatever it is, she just makes an excuse, blah blah blah, and the kids are never shown.
Okay.
Then comes 2000s. Like I said, in 1998 they were bankrupt, and at this point of time,
Mm-hmm.
these 2 years, 1998, the entire course of 1998, 1999. 2 years, probably they had a lot of dues in their leases and their agreements, their rents. So they were kicked out.
Okay.
So they were kicked out,
Mm-hmm.
and when they were evicted from this house, they had to move over to this place called Rio Vista in Texas. Do not kill me. I don't know what that place exactly is called. That's all I could comprehend from listening to the
Mm-hmm.
documentaries. Rio Vista in Texas in the year 2000. The
Okay.
reason why they chose this place was because this place was pretty far away from the general world.
So,
The
so it was in a
houses,
secluded area,
yeah, yeah.
isolated. Okay.
There were houses though. They did have neighbors, but their houses
Mm-hmm.
were separated by huge plots of lands.
Oh, okay.
So house, a huge land around it, driveways,
Mm-hmm.
and then another house somewhere in the middle of a huge plot again. So there were neighbors, but they were pretty far away. So yeah, you get the idea, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At this point of time, sister Elizabeth, Louise's
Mm-hmm.
cousin sister,
Cousin sister.
yeah,
Okay.
uh, does state the fact that she would occasionally come down to their place to meet the family
Mm-hmm.
and meet the kids, but every time she would turn up over there, she would be given some random excuse about the kids being busy or they having some kind of grounding session for being naughty or whatever and being locked away.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So sister Elizabeth never gets to see the kids whenever she comes. Same applies to the grandmother as well, who has traveled multiple kilometers or miles from her hometown to
Mm-hmm.
Texas. She drove down all the way to see her grandchildren when she comes. She isn't even allowed inside the house. Louise and David are sitting outside on the porch, also,
Okay.
as reported by the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
So they are usually sitting out on the porch while the kids are in the basement of the house and doing their own thing, taking care of each other, teaching each other how to speak, teaching each other how to read, write, walk, in fact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when her grandmom turns up at their place, she's just straight up denied and she's told that the kids are busy again. She's given a ton of excuses that the kids cannot meet
Mm-hmm.
her. And then the grandmom finally ends up leaving without seeing
Living.
the kids. She just sees
Okay.
Louise, David, and then just leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kids aren't left out of the house much, so they aren't used to the outside world much. Like, they are left out of the house very rarely on very rare occasions wherein they are just allowed out for like 30-40 minutes and then they are called back
Mm-hmm.
in. So whenever they meet neighboring kids and the kids ask them their names, the kids are frightened to tell their name to somebody else. That's how scared they are. One day there's a
Oh.
neighbor who sees one of this kid, the Turpin
Mm-hmm.
kids, and walks up to her and asks her that she especially notices this kid's hands, which are pale white. She walks up to her,
Hmm.
she's talking, and then she just looks at her hand and then she tells, "Oh, I thought you're having gloves on," because they were extremely
It was that
white.
right?
Yeah, it was that
Oh.
white.
Okay.
And then the kid robotically tells, "You wash till the wrist or you waste water."
Oh, damn. That's creepy.
Yeah, like
Oh, damn. Okay.
that's drilled into their head. That's how.
It would be drilled into anyone's head. I mean, imagine a kid just staring into your eye and just going in a robotic sort of manner,
Exactly.
saying that sentence.
I'm going to poop
Yeah.
myself.
Damn, it's scary.
So did the neighbor tell that itself. She
Mm-hmm.
did tell that it was pretty strange and creepy to hear that coming
Mm-hmm.
from a 7-year-old's mouth. That
Yeah.
means probably she's been hearing that throughout her childhood till that age.
Yeah.
And then while they are at Texas, they have 4 more kids.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I mean, despite the poverty.
yeah, despite the poverty. So at this
Wow.
point of time, there are 12 Turpins, 12
So
Turpin
much time,
kids.
huh?
Yeah, 12 Turpin
Hmm.
kids, and the 2 parents separate. At this point of time,
Okay.
again, they have a eviction. They are due on their rent. They are due on their leases and their contract. So
Mm-hmm.
they are moved out of that house. They are evicted. And at this point of time, I don't know how they got the money to go to South California in Paris, but they did. They
Okay.
did end up going to Paris. And in Paris, they were staying at a pretty good enough house. But
Mm-hmm.
before we moved to Paris, after they were evicted out of Texas,
Mm-hmm.
uh, since the house was taken away by the bank, they decided to sell the house to whoever else
Okay.
the next person, the next buyer would be. And at this point of time, the neighbors volunteered to clean up the house and refurbish it for the next owners.
Okay.
Now, mind you, when I tell that, when the neighbors walked in, they saw horror inside the house. As
What
soon
did
as
they
they
say?
walk into the house, they are blown away by stink. Stink of human feces, of
Ah.
piss, of dead animal carcasses inside the house.
Oh, wait, this is Pazuzu all over again.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh. Whoa. Okay.
The neighbors did report seeing around 3 to 4 dead cats inside the house,
Mm-hmm.
walls, floors, ceilings, in fact, even carpets being soaked and smeared with human feces, garbage being thrown around everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
um, dog kennels, cages being present in the
Uh-huh.
house, beds along with chains, ropes, being all over the place.
Uh-huh.
They couldn't make sense out of it when they saw, but it was pretty disturbing, so they just went in there, did their
I
job,
mean,
booked it out of there.
okay.
And at this point of time, uh, cut to California, South California, Paris. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Let me quickly see my notes. Yeah, after they moved to Paris, I guess this was somewhere around 2009.
No, okay.
Yeah, this was somewhere around 2009. And at this point of time, Louise ends up having their last Turpin, the 13th baby, in the year 2010.
Guys, get a job. Okay. No shade though. Yeah, continue.
I mean, just be responsible enough. You don't have
You
money to
don't
keep
have
your
money
family up
already.
running. Just use a
Yeah.
condom.
Please.
So, at times, as per one of the Turpin children, one said that all the 13 were chained or tied up
Mm-hmm.
at least minimum once a day for some or the other reason. One of the main
Okay.
reasons being, which I which I heard on the court trials, was that Louise did not know how to parent her own child, and she was worried about the kids consuming a lot of sugar and soda, which was available at the home. So the only other option she could think of was tying the kids up with chains so that they couldn't move around much, go to the kitchen, get the drinks. Doesn't make sense to
Wow.
me. Doesn't really make sense to me. I've been parented by my mom phenomenally and my dad. So I don't really understand how chaining up the kids can keep them away from doing something bad. But anyways, the reason why they had so much of soda at home was because the Turpin dad, David, he would stay up all night working, and one day apparently he got into accident because he fell asleep on the wheel. So they decided to have soda for him for the night whenever he would come back home, so he wouldn't fall asleep again. Yeah. So like I said, all of the 13 were chained to the beds all day at times. They were fed once a day. They bathe and brush only once a year. So whichever kid ever turned up to their house, met these kids, or whenever they were going to elementary school at that point of time, they were thrown shade on by the other kids because these kids don't know what's going on. And it's just a tendency that kids will pick on other kids. At that point of time...
Just once a year?
Yeah, once a year. At that point of time, when those 4 Turpins were going to elementary school, they would wear the same clothes every day. Their hair would be dirty. They wouldn't brush. They wouldn't bathe. I don't know. How did CPS not see this? CPS will snatch away kids away from parents who are doing a good job, but they cannot see cases
like
which are legit.
I know.
At this point of time, I feel we as a community failed the kids or the parents themselves. There were many red flags in this case at many points of times which many people tend to ignore. Elizabeth, red flag 1. Neighbors, red flag 2. Grandparents, red flag 3. All the relatives not getting to see the kids, red flag 4.
4, yeah. The school authorities didn't notice either?
No. I mean, she was called up to the principal's office once because, one of the Turpins was called up to the principal's office because she was found touching herself inappropriately in the class. Now, at this point of time, let me tell you, the kid is literally 4 to 5 years old. Elementary school. How old is the kid? And the kid is touching herself. That clearly explains quite a lot about her upbringing in the house. So you might as well consider that. School authorities, God knows what you guys were doing. Anyways, moving on. I'm no one to tell anything about that. So at this point of time, after they had their 13th kid, David and Louise started picking up new interests. They started partying a lot. They started gambling a lot, and they started getting even more sexually active to a point wherein they started swinging around.
I mean, no surprise that the girl was touching herself.
Yeah. They started getting more sexually active, and they started claiming themselves as the swingers who were okay with it.
Wow.
And one such instance was wherein Louise starts talking to this man on internet. I guess at that point of time internet was there. 2010, internet was there. So she comes across this other person on internet, and David personally goes, drops Louise at a hotel. They go inside, do their stuff. Louise records it, brings it with her so that David can watch it and do his thing.
Okay, move on.
I mean, fine, you do you. I'm no one to judge anything. There are many people who are fine with it. So yeah, I'm no one to say anything about that. At this point of time, Louise does pick up an interest and starts following the Rattlesnake Church. I don't know what the Rattlesnake Church is exactly, but it is something, I don't know. Could be a religious belief. I have no idea. And she also starts doing witchcraft and spiritual rituals. As per claimed by her family members. Because she did talk to one of her own sisters about witchcraft and all these other ritualistic things that she was involved in. And then there comes the nail in the coffin. Jan 14th.
Small little interruption.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what rattlesnake church is. It's basically a type of belief where the people in the church start handling snakes and they drink the poison from the snake
Mm-hmm.
and they eventually die of it or something just to prove their faith. That's what a rattlesnake church is. Yeah. I just looked it up online because I kind of remembered it, but just wanted to give you an
Fine.
instance.
Fine. Your choice. Your beliefs. I have
Yeah.
nothing in that. So yeah. So now
Yeah.
finally there comes the nail in the coffin. Also, I will make you guys listen to the 911 call, by the way. Jan 14th,
Oh,
2018. 17-year-old
uh-huh.
daughter makes a run for it again.
Mm-hmm.
When I say she
Again.
makes a run for it again, she did try running away from the house when they were at Texas. Now remember, they were pretty malnourished and they claim that the 17-year-old had an IQ of a first grader.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
and a physical prowess of a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
So she couldn't run quite far back then when she was in Texas. She did try running out. She couldn't run far away. When she got out, she tried asking every single person to give her a job, give her a car and an apartment. And when they were okay with giving her that, and when they asked her about her details of her house,
Mm-hmm.
her name, and her details, personal details, she hesitated to give that. I mean, at this point of time, come on, we can't even blame the kids. They don't know how the world works. So
Yeah.
it is what she thinks is not fine. So
I,
I
I, hmm.
they have treated their the treatment part is already over. The treatment part is
Mm-hmm.
already over. I just told it in brief to you guys, but there have been more instances wherein they have been denied food, they have been denied permission to the washroom, they have been denied permission to water. They have,
Okay.
in fact, to a certain point wherein they have been denied freedom to go out. The kids are
Mm-hmm.
24 bar 7 at the house. So there is literally nothing else in their life. They are in those four walls with those 13 siblings all together, chained up to the
Mm-hmm.
bed, hardly fed, hardly cleaned, hardly
Shitting in the
nurtured.
same room.
Yeah, same room.
I'm guessing.
13 in the same
Wow.
room. And obviously, there are toddlers, so they don't know how to take care of their
Ah,
pooping,
man.
peeing, puking. So there you
Hmm.
go. There you go with all the mess on the carpet. That explains quite a lot. So when she tried running out in Texas, she was brought back to her parents, thinking that she wasn't old enough, and then she wasn't thinking right. So she was sent
Mm-hmm.
back to her parents, living her nightmare all over again. But when she was 17 years
Okay.
old, at this point of time, she mustered up the courage to grab a second phone at her place, her mom's old phone, and get
Okay.
out of the house, run out of the house, make an escape through the window. Now remember, I told you she got her mom's phone. At that point of time, this cell phone was deactivated. But you are allowed to make calls on a deactivated phone as well, as far as it's an emergency call, basically 911. So
Oh,
if you're calling
okay.
911, you can call from a deactivated phone as well. So she
Okay.
gets
Hmm.
out of the house, she runs away a little distance down the block, and then she dials
Mm-hmm.
up 911, and the 911 operator asks her many questions, being skeptical about the whole situation. I will make you guys listen to
Mm-hmm.
the entire 911 call. It is so heartbreaking. You guys
Okay.
must listen to this.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Um, I just ran away from home.
Do you know what street you're on?
Um, no. I just ran away from home because I live in a family of 15. Okay? Can you hear me? And we have abusing parents. Did you hear that?
Okay, how did they abuse you?
Okay. They hit us, they throw us across, they like throw us across the room. They pull our hair, they yank out our hair. I have My two little sisters right now are chained up.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 17.
What's your name?
Bugden Turpin.
Okay, I'm gonna connect you to the service department so that they can help
What?
you. One moment, don't hang up.
I won't.
A second dispatcher picks up.
Hello?
Oh, yes, I'm still here. Hi.
Is that the deputy?
Okay. Yes.
Go talk to him, okay?
Yes.
Alright, bye-bye.
So, listening to this call, thankfully, the second 911 dispatcher does send police dispatch down this address, whatever this girl mentions.
Okay.
I mean, that's sad enough already listening to that. The girl doesn't even know what medication is.
She doesn't even know what, and she just sounds so
Exactly.
disturbed. Damn. Okay.
So, and at this point of time, if you note one more thing, she is 17 years old.
She is. Yeah.
Does she sound like one?
She doesn't actually. She sounds like a small girl.
Exactly. That is exactly why the 911 dispatcher was also pretty thrown off and was trying to think this was all just a prank. Because, come on,
Okay.
let's accept the fact that these 911 operators get like tons of calls a day
Yeah.
by people probably even on drugs telling random shit, or even kids who are done with their parents,
Yeah.
and just rebellious kids trying to frame their parents up with CPS and all that whatnot, blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, I've seen a lot of prank calls,
Exactly,
that people
exactly.
do to the 911, and no surprise that
Yeah.
911 doesn't buy shit.
So she was pretty doubtful about it, but anyway, she did end up sending a police dispatch to the address that Jordan told. Jordan was the 17-year-old girl who made an escape
Girl,
and
okay.
did the call.
Hi, Jordan.
You are looking at the body camera footage from the deputy as he arrives.
What's going on?
Okay. I just ran away from home,
Okay.
and I live in a family of 15.
Okay.
My two little sisters right now are chained up.
They're chained up?
Yes,
Where are they chained up at?
on their bed. Now, mother didn't chain them up just to be mean. Okay. They're chained up because they stole mother's food.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sorry if I talk too much. Okay. I've never talked to anybody out there, so I've never been alone with a person, so this is very hard for me to talk. Okay,
How do your parents know you left your house?
no, they home. So,
Do you take any medication?
what's medication?
Medication?
Yeah, what's medication?
Do you take pills? Do you take pills?
Oh, I
For-
don't think I've ever taken a pill before.
Okay.
Right, I haven't. But
The girl with the strange vocabulary nervously puts on a little hat, a reminder of one of her sisters who's depending on her.
our parents are abusing. They abuse us. But the reason I called and the reason I managed to get out here, this is one of the most scariest things I've ever done.
Uh-huh.
I'm terrified. But I called because my two little sisters, they're chained up right now.
The deputy, a 9-year veteran of the force, is not sure what to make of this 17-year-old girl who looks so much younger. He is ending a graveyard shift, and it's been a hard night.
Robbery calls, assault calls, deputies were shot at.
He responded to the runaway call because he knows how they usually end. You take the kids back home to reconcile with their parents.
I decided to take it, thinking, hey, this might be a good way just to end my shift.
And then, on instinct, he asks a question.
Do you have pictures of that?
Yes, I can show you. I actually didn't have it, and then one of my sisters told me I need to get pictures.
Do you have pictures of your sisters chained up?
Yes, but they're in here. Okay. I don't have proof of everything, but I have proof that my sisters are chained up. So see,
She doesn't seem to know the word
here,
bruised.
you can look at them. See, those are the places that make it on them. And see how dirty she is? We are so filthy. We don't take baths. We don't.
How did your sisters get like this?
Okay.
Your parents chained them up?
Yes, because they stole food.
Okay.
But they stole it because they were hungry.
Who took this picture?
I did. I took those pictures.
Okay. You make sure to save these, okay?
Okay, I will.
Don't get rid of those.
I will.
So, like I said, she didn't believe much about it. At this point of time, when the police officers did turn up at the house, they walked into the house. Louise, at this point of time, is being very, very agitated by it. But
Okay.
anyways, the cops are there. It's done deal. They walk into the
It's done,
house.
yeah.
They get into the basement. They see the kids over there, and kids are chained up to their beds. Few are tied up. Their condition is miserable. They are not hygienic at all. And at this time, the cops ask for an ambulance dispatch. The ambulance comes in. The kids are taken to the hospital. And also, mind you, that when they go to the hospital for the checkup, the hospital staffs clearly tell that these were the most well behaved kids they had ever seen in their entire career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They all were super understanding, super silent, well mannered, behaved in the hospital while they were going through their tests and whatever. After this, they did bring out a few stats. The stats being the 29-year Turpin, the oldest of them all,
Oh, okay.
weighed only 37 kgs.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So you can probably even think about his body
Wow.
stature and how he looked. So yeah, there's nothing much to it. Like I also said, the 17-year-old had an IQ of a first grader.
Yeah.
And then all this happens. The Turpin parents are taken to trial. At trial, they are sentenced to 94 years in prison.
94.
Yes, 94 years. I mean, they didn't kill anyone, so yeah, no life sentence
yeah,
or no capital punishment. But yeah, fine. 94 years, apt enough.
Good enough.
But you did
Yeah.
spoil lives of 13 children. Do keep that in
13
mind.
children. Yeah.
And the story just literally ends here. The kids are taken away. They were put in rehab. The younger ones were put in group therapy and schooling. Also, but actually, the story really didn't end over there. I did read a brief article online later on saying that the kids were mistreated in foster care as well.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
pity these kids, man. They were mistreated in foster care
Luck was
again.
against them.
Yeah. But luckily, not
So
for
much-
long, they did raise their voice against it this time, quite soon.
Oh, that's good.
So they were moved out of that foster house, and these parents were also again put to some kind of custody or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, as of now, Jordan is in the fashion industry, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, I don't know about the rest of the Turpin kids, but they all are doing good. They all are well to do at this point of time in life, and I hope they all are happy.
Diablo, I couldn't help but think. You say that the 17-year-old Jordan had an IQ of a first grader,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me how she had the thought to call 911.
Oh, yeah. About 911. This wasn't a sudden decision. She
Okay.
and few more siblings together had planned this since past 2 years. But they didn't
Oh,
know
so
when to
this is
execute it. This plan was not spontaneous.
Oh.
This was a full-fledged, well thought out plan. When
That's nice.
the time when she was about to go out and call the 911 operator, she wasn't supposed to head out there alone. She was supposed to go with another sister of hers who was 14 years old. But at this point of time, the 14-year-old sister backed out. She was too scared. So
Okay.
she just climbed back into the window and just went. And Jordan was hell-bent upon doing it. So she just never went back. she head out there. Thanks to them, she head out there and she called the 911 operator, and things happened. And things happened for the better. So I am really shocked with the story. I don't know what you guys think about the story. If you guys have any thoughts or ideas, my god, the story was long and tiring, but at the same time, it was heartbreaking. So I pity those. I pity those kids. I pity those kids, really, man. I hope they are happy and sufficed now in life, at least.
Well, it seems like they are. Hopefully, they are.
Yeah,
At least they learn to stand up for
yeah.
themselves.
It's
Yeah,
pretty obvious that you need to stand up for yourself. This is actually,
you
this
need to.
is not the only child abuse case. At this
It
point
is
of
not.
time, I can tell you this is the least. This story is the least severe out of the rest. Three. I will showcase those three stories for you guys if you guys let me know that you
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed this episode today of this podcast. This is episode number 5, I guess. If you guys enjoyed
5.
episode number 5, the Turpin case suggested by Johal Gaming, I will make more of these child abuse cases. I have 3 more stories. One was brought to me by Sharon, and 2 more of my own that I had come across earlier on. So if you guys want to know about the stories, let me know in the comment section. Drop likes on this video. So the more the likes, the merrier. I'll know that you guys are encouraging more content like this, so I'll drop more. Also, we have the serial killers of India series altogether. That's a different podcast. I can do it for you guys. Let me know in the comment section again. And yeah, any kind of thoughts or ideas, Sharon, about this? You've got anything to speak about this? I mean, this has
I don't
left me
have.
pretty
I mean,
speechless.
it has. And the only doubt I had was how Jordan was able to, call up, and you cleared that. So yeah,
Yeah, I
about that.
mean, very good, Jordan. I mean, very good.
Very good Turpin kids. So at least they
Yeah.
tried a way to, come out of this.
If you realize,
And
in the year
mhm,
2018, Jordan was 17, so she is just 1 year younger to us.
yeah, she is. Well, I hope you are doing fine now.
And
I
since
hope
birth till
you are.
2018, her life was in that miserable basement, chained
I
up to her
know.
bed.
I just hope they are doing fine now. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
I mean, we being us, if we are kept at home for a day, we just lose our
Oh, we
minds.
go crazy.
We lose our
We go
minds.
crazy. Yeah.
Imagine these kids who had never seen the outside world. Even if they were seen, it was like a trailer to them, wherein the
Yep.
movie just never came until one of
Yeah.
them mustered up the courage to go out there and save themselves.
Yeah.
All the out of all the 13 kids,
Mm-hmm.
12 were pretty infuriated by whatever their parents did. Although one kid was a little supportive about it.
Okay.
He did tell, he or she, I don't exactly know who. That kid did mention that that was probably because our parents didn't know how to take care of us. There were too many of us. They got overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Although, no, that isn't the excuse to mistreat your children. Parents out there, if you have kids, please do take good care of them. Your kids have got only you
Yep.
as the
You
support.
are their only home. And if they don't feel safe in their own home, I don't know where else they will find
Exactly.
safety. So,
So I hope all the parents out there are taking good care of their children. If you aren't, please do take this as a wake up call. You don't want to end up in jail for 94 years, and you
yep.
don't want to spoil your kids' life. You want to give them a life you never had. Think of that and move ahead in life. I think Yeah, with that being said,
I
I guess that's it for today's stream. Do you have something, Sharon?
yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking, you mentioned at the beginning of the story that they were being sold to their grandfather
No, no,
or
no.
something like
That
that.
wasn't the Turpin kids. That was
Oh,
Louise
that
and
wasn't
her
the Turpin.
sisters.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
She
all
having a
right, all
dark
right.
childhood and facing all that. I don't really understand how she could do
Yeah,
that to her own kids. I mean,
well, there is a
mhm,
term for that. There is a term for it. I think it's called mother's wound, if I'm not wrong. It's it's a thing where um, you know, if say I become a mother, okay.
mhm,
Now I have had a very bad childhood. My
mhm,
parents have mistreated me.
mhm.
Now this wound will carry on to my children. So they will also face the same things I faced, because if I went through it, why should they have a good life? There is something called like that. And I've heard of it a lot of times. And that's probably what happened in Lewis's case as well.
Doesn't really does it. I mean, doesn't really do any strong explanation about what she did to her kids.
Yeah.
Also, Elizabeth did mention that after the Turpins became bankrupt,
Mm-hmm.
and when she was at that place, David wasn't how David was told he was. David was
Uh-huh.
always portrayed as this shy kid, didn't talk much, kept to himself, did his own thing, but excelled at whatever he did.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't really the story. Elizabeth clearly tells that this man was very violent and very
Oh,
strict with his rules at home.
okay.
So,
Mm-hmm.
again, another red flag, but ignored.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
that point of time, Elizabeth did not complain about all these things happening at the house, or the fact that David would walk into her having showers and joke about it, was
Mm-hmm.
because she tells she was very scared because she was young, and as long as she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't touched inappropriately, it was okay. And since she was young, she couldn't comprehend what was that fine line between schooling your kid and being abusive.
Well, okay.
And then she never got a chance to do that again because she was never let
She
to see
was
the kids
never
again.
allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not allowed to see them. Well, you had your chance, but
She was young back then. We can't really scold her.
yeah, she was young. Yeah.
We can't really hold her responsible for whatever happened. It was purely the parents itself. There are
Yeah.
more gruesome cases. There were not many graphical descriptions in this. So, yeah, you're still good to go with the story. But, yeah, if you want more stories about child abuse cases, there are 3 more as of now. I will let you guys know about those stories if you guys like this one, and let me know in the comments as usual. Again, like I said, there is also a series for serial killers of India. I will do that
Still.
as well, along with Sharon. So do let me know about that as well. You guys can put one single comment for both of that. You can just let me know both, yeah, or
Yes.
let us know about both the playlists, and no, I mean both the podcast series, and I will do that for you guys. And that's it for today's stream, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like. Yeah, YouTube guys, make sure to drop a like,
YouTube.
drop a comment,
YouTube,
share the
like,
videos with your
share.
friends, family. This is family friendly content. You can share it with
This is
your,
family friendly
yeah, you
content.
can share it
Yes.
with your family as well. And subscribe if you haven't yet, because you miss out on content like this almost twice a week. And turn
Yep.
on all notifications to stay notified for content like this. And until next time, stay safe. Love you all. Stay awesome, guys.
Stay awesome.
Thank you and good night.
And good night.